Hi, good morning everyone. Today's reading is going to be how to be your most creative self. So we're going to look at how to bring out some creativity in your life. I'm not sure in which direction. Hopefully we will pick up something that will ring a bell and help you to be more of who you're meant to be. You've got three piles as usual. You've got apple green, deep cobalt, I don't know how to say that, cobalt, and caramel. So if you want to take your choice and then we'll get going. Okay, I'm just going to start talking before I've actually really looked, but I have had a little bit of a look. You don't need to know this, do you? What I'm thinking here is that you give of yourself in some way that is very much part of either, this sounds ridiculous because I think all creativity is the same, you give of yourself, and I don't know whether it's to do with acting or putting yourself or your body in show. You've got the first house and the ascendant, so that makes me think of the way that you appear, how you present yourself, your looks possibly. I'm thinking modelling, acting, or putting yourself out there on a stage in some way. You've also as well got the Five of Cups, which makes me think here with this particular picture of photography or film. But with a Strength card next to it, it also could be a little bit more subversive, like script writing. There's lots of different thoughts here with regards to how you create. The Princess of Cups is making me think of emotions, perhaps putting your emotions into writing. The first house here is you're very much part of that writing. You could be writing about yourself. It could be like a diary. There's loads and loads of different thoughts here. The Strength card could be, once again, acting. Leo, very much in the centre, very much on stage. It's something to do with people seeing you, you presenting yourself, even memories of your past, part of your past, but you being the centre of it. And it's funny here, you've got the Love is Creative over the Strength card. There's something to do with your inner energy being very much part of yourself and your life, the way that you love, the things that you do. This is a ridiculous thing to say because creativity is you, but it's making me think it's very personal. What you create is personal to you. Some people give out more with regards to fulfilling bits in other people's lives, still part of them, but this is very much part of you, and that need to create and to express yourself with that Strength card here, being that Leo card of being the centre, is huge. You on show, something to do with nostalgia, possibly something to do with giving in a very sweet, innocent way of yourself. I don't know, to be honest, don't know, but that's the inkling I'm getting. The blockages I think you may have experienced with regards to being your creative self has to do with timing and everything moving too slowly, and I'm wondering if you've got quite a warm and expansive personality and then it all sort of constricts down here to the Knave of Pentacles, the Page of Pentacles. It's almost like, this is me, here I am, oh my god, I've got to plan. I'm a poet, I didn't know it. It's that feeling of restriction and constriction and planning and timing and money and finances that has taken your fire out of you. Yesterday I did start this spread and it just didn't work. I just couldn't do it, so I just packed it in. I thought I'll start again tomorrow. I very rarely can read in the evening. My mind just doesn't work at all. And one of the little snippets that came out was, what was your favourite film as a child? And I was talking with my family about this last night, how important that is. If you think back what your favourite film was when you were a child and the 3 points that really made you tick, that's got to be part of you that you need to be bringing out, because when you're a child you don't think, is it cool to be this, is this going to fulfill this? It's just like, that's me, I love it, and that is got to be a huge part of creativity. So what was your favourite film as a child? What made you tick? Why was it, why did it touch a part inside of yourself? And there's what I'm guessing here as well, that your creativity has almost slid a little bit down the drain, possibly because of stability. There's that sort of weighing up between what's stable, what you've got to do every day with regards to nurturing your inner self and your inner flair and your inner creativity. And that love is creative. Your creativity and your love and your inner fire is what keeps you out of your coffin. It's honestly what keeps you out of your coffin. It's that basic energy that drives us all every day. And if you've got a creative nature, you've got to live it, or else you just feel like you're dying inside. And there's something very important here to you with your first house and your ascendant, that you need to be seen for what you're doing. It just give me a feeling of using history, like photographs, or it could even be history. It could be like memories from, it could even be somebody else, but it's coming through you and you're being on your centre. It could be like rehashing somebody's diaries, like grandparents' diaries of the war, with a 5 of Cups card here, which flicks back to the past. But there's like film, photography, script writing, being on the centre stage, and the Strength card and the Princess of Cups are like sweet. I mean, it is love. It is love, and it's that ability to know that energy that's flowing through you, if you have a creative tinge to you, which everybody has, doesn't really matter what you do, it's just the energy of being alive. But this is quite a strong need to do it. You're not going to feel happy unless you do. And if you're doing this centre row here, which is basically plodding, being stable, paying the bills, is all part of it, but not the most important part of it. It's almost a case of, I'm guessing from these 2 spreads here, that it's about time. I'm actually filming this, yeah. It's about time that you started bringing this row out a bit, and almost like, as long as you can pay your rent and feed yourself, don't buy the extra bits. You don't need them. You don't need those extra bits. And they just basically, they go in the cupboard, don't they? And you wear them once, or that car, you don't need it. It's just pay attention to your basic energy rather than what's sparkly and twinkly in the outside world, because you are excuse me, sparkly. You are sparkly and twinkly on your inside world with the Princess of Cups and Strength there, and the first house. Oh, it made me, when that birth sound there, we went to see a pantomime with work, and there's a drag queen singing on stage, and every time she came on, she put on such a low voice. There was only me and this other girl wetting ourselves in the audience, and it was like really sort of romantic songs with a really deep voice, and for some reason it just got me. I couldn't stop laughing. Yeah, that's not important. All right, then let's go back to you, to all about you. Where you need to be. You've got the Death and you've got the Fool, you've got the 8 of Brushes. This isn't you need to revamp your plan. You need to revamp your plan totally. Stop restricting yourselves to mundane reality totally. You've still got to live, you've still got to eat, but you've got to start getting back this fire inside of yourself. Now, what do you want? What you've got to sort of decide, where did you want to be before you had to earn your living? Back to that film thing again. Who are you? What do you want? What makes you feel alive? Because your cards at the end here are what I would say quite drastic. In a case, you've got the Death and the Fool, endings, beginnings, and the 8 of Brushes is just do it with a bit of oomph. It makes me think with these Pentacle cards in the middle, which is your blockage pile, and these like really strong major Arcana cards at the end, the Death and the Fool, and the 8 of Brushes is passion. It is a case of revamping your life. It makes me think you feel like you've gone stale with regards to your passion, with regards to what basically, as you were a kid used to make you wake up in the morning excited. You feel like you've gone stale, and this is like a call out to get it back, because you need it back. You need to get up in the morning, even if you're putting in an hour at the end of the day on the other side of your paid work. You've got to start doing something that makes you feel alive again. It's like end a mindset, not end your job, end the mindset. Start doing something that makes you feel alive, but it's take a different tack. You need stimulation here. This isn't going to happen in a vacuum. If you feel like you've got that creative block, it's more a case of put your fingers out somewhere else. Go and, I'm going to say tantalise, titilise, energise. That's better, isn't it? Go and energise yourself with getting in, what I would say with the Eight of Brushes here, getting stuck in groups, getting stuck in situations, observing, taking in information, just overexciting yourself again. If you're into something like graphic design, go and have a look at different people. You know, go to what's it when the degree programs, I suppose it might be difficult now, degree programs show the end of year results and all the new ideas. It's that type of thing. You need stimulation to get your oomph back again. You know, what do you want? Who did you want to be as a child? What was that film? Let me know what that film was. But this is really calling you out to make some major changes. You've been playing it safe, this one. This pan here says playing it safe for too long, and it's time to make a big jump. Time to make things exciting. Time to put yourself first. That energy, you could be quite Aries, you could be quite fiery in some way, and especially with that love is creative on the strength card. That energy needs to be directed somewhere that's going to make your life bigger and touch other people's lives. It's not a case of don't hide baby in the corner. It is that case, I mean, don't hide baby in the corner. Revamp your plan. Revamp your plan. If it's gone stale, you need, with the Eight of Brushes, to get some stimulation from outside arenas. It's like ending a mindset and starting fresh. Putting yourself out there, putting yourself first. Right, I'm going to sum this up, pile number one. How to get back to your most creative self is to possibly reflect on what gave you that kick as a child. What was your favourite film? What made you excited? You know, even if you just write down 3 things right now and see if you're living them. Your first house is you need to be seen. You've got quite a fiery feeling here with the strength. You've got the love card, the love is creative card here. You need to put yourself out there and be seen. There's a sense of warmth, there's a sense of needing to shine, but also that Cancer feeling of perhaps pulling something from the past or sticking it into a watery arena like writing, film, photography, acting possibly, with the Leo there as well. But you've become stale, you've become your job, you've become your 9 to 5, you've become that thing that you feel like you need to do, possibly to look like you're grown up, and it's go back to being a child. What do you want to do? Even if it's part of your job, the Eight of Brushes here is rejuvenate yourself, reinvigorate yourself, revamp yourself, re-something yourself, and it's going to take what I would say quite a drastic approach. And I don't mean drastic approach as in give your job up, walk out of your relationship. It's mindset, a drastic change in your mindset. It's like sit down, shake yourself up, sit down maybe, and write down what jump you need to do to get back to who you should be. Okay, pile number one, I'm going to finish there. I hope that helps in some way. Don't do anything too drastic, but unless it's internal and you've got some sort of, you obviously like a plan of action to get back to your inner child here, I'm thinking. Pile number one, I'm going to go. I hope that helps. Bye. Okay, pile number one, I'm just going to start talking. Probably I said the same in pile number two, I did say the same in pile number one. I'm just going to start talking without even knowing what I'm talking about, because I get ideas and then I'm afraid they might go in case they're right for somebody. I have a feeling here that there's something to do with what I would say like social work, helping people, healing people. You've got the Taurus house, you've got the Taurus and the 4th house, excuse me. Which gives a really earthy feeling of being grounded and being there for people and being somebody's rock, possibly. There are different connotations to this as well. I mean, it possibly could be that you had a tough childhood and there's something to do with healing, the things that you've experienced, that very Chiron feeling of you being able to give to other people that makes them feel safe. There's also as well the Taurus in the 4th house. You could possibly work at home. You could possibly work with creative, natural materials like, I'm going to say Colin Jackson, then, but he's a hurdler. There's an artist down here on the coast who makes canvases as big as a house, and he puts basically half the sea on them. There's like, they are brilliant. There is the sand, there's like driftwood, and his canvases are made out of natural materials. There's that feeling there with the Taurus of being interested in things you can touch, building, making, not Lego, maybe Lego, but it's using your hands like pottery, that type of feeling as well. But the 9th house here, and this dark colour here, and this looming wave makes me think that part of your artistic process or part of your creativity has to do with emotions. And what I would say here with the 6 of Swords here, with that feeling of travelling to smoother waters, that there's an energy that you put into your creativity that could possibly be seen as being quite dark, in the best way, as in it brings in your inner emotions. It's very Scorpio feeling here I'm getting, of channeling your passion that has not been easy for you. It's part of your childhood, possibly part of a relationship that's fallen, but it's that type of emotion that you put into a song that makes people cry. Because you've got the 2 of Cups here, you've got the Magician and the 6 of Swords. This is, for me, this row here is your situation, what you're thinking of. The 2 of Cups has that feeling, as I was just saying, of using your past, your history, and the harder parts of your past with the Magician card here to manipulate circumstances, to make your art or how you feel creative have a more personal and a more emotional feel. The 6 of Swords here again with the 9 of Swords here is hurt, and the process of living is what brings your art or your creativity to life. It could be actually healing people from working from home as I don't know, so many different examples. I'll give you a few examples. It doesn't have to be from home, but it could be just from childhood and your experiences of childhood. I know a woman who works in prisons. I'm expecting more 12th house, to be honest, though, who uses drama to help people through their trauma and why they're in prison in the first place. I know a lady who works from home on an autistic line. There was another one as well that made me think of this. I don't know. It could be, I have got lots of ideas, but I can't actually think of them at the moment. It is the idea of using your art. Perhaps you sing, perhaps you write music, perhaps you write, you just write full stop, but it's a feeling of using past life experiences, especially emotional experiences, to manipulate your ideas and your thought processes and push your art and your creativity out in some way. It doesn't have to be art, and you don't have to have a beret on and be painting with oil. It's it's far broader than that. It's part of your inner energy and how you express it. Oh my gosh, excuse me. Express it in a creative way. It may not even be a form that you would put under creativity. It's just your work, your passion. The blockages, as far as I can tell here, are doing it in a traditional way. My first thought when I put these out was you may be doing this in a very traditional way. Now, you might be getting paid yourself for doing it, with the Connect and Communicate, the Hierophant, and the 8 of Wands here with the 2 of Swords makes me think that you're looking for an alternative way to express yourself that isn't so traditional. It may be that you don't want to be paid for it anymore, that you want to be doing it on your own. And it's your time to connect with other people, communicate, put yourself out there with the 2 of Swords here in a different way. Make a decision to do it for yourself, really. The Hierophant here is not to tie you into what you would consider a traditional role to express yourself. The Magician card here is, you've got it all there. You know how to do it. You've been through the process. You've got the tools there. So what are you going to do? How are you going to choose your next port of call of action? I don't know what the words are, but it's express yourself, connect and communicate. Can you do that in some different way? If you write books, can you do it in a more alternative way, like print your own books? if your job is a social work type job, could you be more self-employed? It's the Hierophant card for blockages is you've taken a traditional route that possibly you could get more out of if you use your initiative in the Magician and spread your wings in a more independent and unusual way. If you work from home with the communication and the 8 of Wands here, could you possibly use the internet more in some way? You know, what avenues could you open up to showing your wares? Not very much could be showing your wares, to be honest, but you know what I mean. Either way, showing your wares. Right, where do you need to be? There's a feeling here. It's funny you've got be here now. It's sexy with the 4th house and Taurus. There's a very earthy feeling of being very at home in yourself, being very, not looking too far ahead, but just being centered, being here and accepting yourself as you are, and small nudges rather than that first spread was like, take that jump. This is more like, this is who you are. It's start nudging out slowly. It's almost that case of doing this and radiating rather than the first pile was like, get moving, you've wasted too much time. The 6 of Stencils here, possibly, you know, if there's that sort of sociology or psychology or group involvement with healing people, the 6 of Stencils says to me, you're on the right track. It's that feeling of helping people and you being there to be people's rock in some way. I don't know if that's what you do with the Ace of Buckets. It could be letting people reveal themselves. You could be into counselling. You could be into coaching in some way. There's a healing feel here. And I don't know whether your art and your creativity is healing to you, which I'm sure it is, because I think it is to everybody. But there's that ability and that need to start connecting, because you have what I would say, especially if you're in some sort of mentor role, the ability. You've got a lot to give to people, is what I'm trying to say. But you don't have to do it. It may be part of your job already with this Hierophant card here. And it's saying to me that you don't have to take the traditional route. You don't have to go to work and be paid for it. Start, you know, it makes me think, start setting yourself up on your own, possibly, if you haven't already. Right, I'm just going to read these now without reading through each bit, just to sort of tell you what I'm feeling. To me, this feels like a pile of a psychological creativity, something that you may have learnt with regards to being quite receptive to life and going through life's ups and downs and having that strength now inside yourself to bring other people up. It doesn't matter what your avenue is, whether you do it through writing, whether you do it through drama, whether you do it through teaching, or I don't know, to be honest, but you have what I would say that teacher Chiron feel about you, and you have that ability to connect with people in a very unusual way. You've gone, what I would say, down a traditional track down here, and it's almost saying like you need to spread yourself out bit by bit by bit by reaching out to people, helping people in a different way. It's the reaching out and the communicating bit that's important to you, I think, here. It's like a decision you need to make. I can do something a little bit different. I don't have to follow the traditional route. This will make me more independent. I don't know what that is. And it could be like sending scripts out or putting books out in your own way without having to go down a publisher route. It could be communicating more on the internet when you actually get up 9 to 5 and go to work, or you work for somebody else at home with the 4th house here. The 6 of Stencils, the Ace of Buckets and the 6 of Spray Cans at the end, and the buckets are hearts, are to me a feeling of healing people by being caring, being there, expressing yourself, and that's the way that you touch other people and make them feel as if they're not alone. The Ace of Buckets has that sort of warm hug feeling about it. You could work with children, you could work with people who are troubled. The 9 of Swords here and these colours in the 4th house, you could be that person at the end of a Samaritan, that end of the phone line. Doesn't really matter. There's something to do with what you've got to give out that needs to be given out, because there's something to do that it touches other people in some way that makes them feel less alone. but you don't go down that traditional route solely. You need to start branching out slightly, doing something for yourself that is just for yourself, not almost, you know, it makes me think, don't get paid by somebody else totally. Keep the roof over your head, keep your food in the fridge. Anything more than that, push it into doing what you want to do. And the 6 of stencils here is you've got something to give to other people that makes them feel whole. Right, be here, be now, it's sexy. Yeah, you have that feeling here of being quite earthy. The type of person that people come to when they're feeling high. You know, when you feel nervous and you feel like life's all over the place, and you occasionally, you think you're really steady, everybody's the same. We all think that we're very steady, we're very stable, and that one thing clicks us off and you're almost teetering on the edge. How close are we all to going over that edge? It takes us one thing that really doesn't float our boat to make us feel unstable. And you're the type of person that people want to come to, or the way that you express yourself can give a very soothing effect on others. Just the way that you are. It could even be like cookery classes. The 4th house here in Taurus, and that ability of being here now makes me think of somebody very stable who you could go out and work with children or adults in some way that is very homely, like cooking classes, that type of thing. And it just makes people feel, because they're involved in something that is quite therapeutic in some way, this has a very healing quality about it. Okay, right, pile number 3, I'm going to finish there. I don't know if any of that rings true. Strong pile though. I wish you the best of luck, and I hope some of that does actually help. Bye. Pile number 3, I am just going to start weeding my way through this because it's not immediately obvious, but I will tell you what I'm thinking. Up here you've got the 12th house and Scorpio. Makes me think there's something very internal, very sensitive, very much a case of helping a part of the collective is what I was thinking here. It's like making some sort of impact with regards to something that's underneath the surface, possibly helping groups in situations where a lot of people need a lot of help. Hospitals, prisons, working behind the scenes. It's not like the pile number 1 where you have to be centre. The 5 of Pentacles, you've got this twice up here. The 5 of Pentacles is that feeling of being shut out, feeling like you don't belong. And I don't think this has a lot to do with you. This has a lot to do with your talent. Making people feel like they belong, making people feel less lonely. You're a group person. I don't know if you are a group person. Actually, I don't really sense you're a group person. I get the 3 of Pentacles here, that part of your work, part of your creativity is making people feel that they belong. You've got the 3 of Pentacles here, which isn't, well, 3 of Pentacles is using your skills. Normally in a group situation you're sharing your skills, but the 3 of Pentacles in this card is working as part of the flock. And the 12th of houses up here is just saying working as part of a flock made me think of a religious bend. So I don't know whether you're quite interested in religion or spirituality in some way, and that's the way that you express yourself. The 9 of Pentacles here possibly could be working on your own, working from home, and you like a sense of independence. The 10 of Wands, got the 12th house and the Scorpio, to me gives me a feeling of not being afraid of taking on people's inner depths. And I don't know whether it's the way that you express yourself, whether it's a part of reflecting on people's darker nuances or reflecting on life in general, and the more seedier parts of life, the harder parts of life may be part of your art, or just helping people who are in trouble. Again, it's the same thing, but it's similar to pile number 2, this one. The difference in your pile here is that I think that you may have tried to do something a little bit more independent at one time. You've got the Emperor for the blockage row down here and the Star, but you've got the 4 of Cups here. So it makes me think you possibly could have tried, I'm sorry if you can hear my heater, it's freezing. Do I sound like I'm in an airplane? You could have tried doing something that you could have tried setting up on your own, being independent, being the boss, and not really enjoying it. Oftentimes you speak to bosses and we all go, this could be you, we all go on a route where you're at a certain level and you think that if you push, that you are going to be happy at the end of it, because that's the way we're taught to climb up the ladder. And to be honest, the higher you go up the ladder, the less creativity you have, I often think. Not always, it depends, but the more restrictions you have on your time, the less you can play. Play with your ideas, play with what you're actually perceiving, play with your art, play with your creativity, because you've got the Ten of Wands here that makes me think that you could have had blockages in the past through not playing. And I wonder whether does actually help you working with people to actually have something to bounce off. I don't know there. I'm going to go on to your final spread down here and then start sort of trying to sum it up in my head. Where you need to be is to... You've got the Five of Pentacles here and at the end. So where you need to be is those bits that you find are part of your inner workings, part of what makes you feel like you are alive, has got a lot to do with being aware of other people, being aware of how other people feel like they don't fit in, being very perceptive of that, and in some way expressing that in your art or your creativity in some way, whether it is helping, whether it is actually a solid piece of art, whether it's psychology, the 12th house, Scorpio, photography, film, 12th house. Many actors, many politicians have a 12th house. It's a way of expressing yourself, but using your experiences from what I would say quite hard experiences where you feel like you've not belonged, or where you've perceived people not belonging. You may be putting those people along with you, or you just may be reflecting on those times or that feeling to put into your work. This is quite a tough pile. This is like a tough cookie pile here. And it's expressing that. It's expressing life's... Do you know what I'm thinking of? That film Fish Tank with Michael Fassbender in it. It's quite a hard film. It's about a girl that dances and she lives in, I'm going to say a prison block then, because I can see the 12th house, but she lives in a tower block in London, and it's got a rough feel for a lot of Michael Fassbender's films do, and I think that's why I quite like him. That's not just the only reason, but it is that sort of, there's something quite harsh about him which gets my attention. I think too much fluff doesn't get my attention. I tend to basically go a bit sort of yee of my eyes, but this has got a feeling of wanting, the Scorpio there in the 12th house, wanting to know the complete truth. Nobody knows the complete truth, it's all in our own eyes, of what's going on behind the scenes. So there's something very creative about the way that you pull things forward. There's something very perceptive, almost like a psychic way of pulling things forward, but very, how can I say, severe, very honest. Scorpio does not like unicorns. That is not a quote. Scorpio probably does like unicorns, but they're like black unicorns. And the Five of Pentacles here is, I want the grit. Tell me the grit, because that's what I can use in my creativity. That's what is going to help me push forward. And you may have had quite a difficult time in doing this in the past, or you may have had quite a difficult childhood, but you may have learnt to almost use that in a group situation. And I wonder whether you have, because this is quite a gutsy pile, with the Emperor card here, you may have been a boss in some situation, you may have a lot of responsibility, but you may not want that anymore. The Star card here next to it makes me think that you possibly could want to retract and perhaps do a little bit more behind the scenes here. The Star card makes me think of the 12th house, possibly working at home on the internet or on your computer more so than being in the public eye. Because you could have done that already, and you may not want to go down that track again, but there's still that need to communicate, and there's still that need to heal in some way with what you do with your art. And courage is everything, very much part, even failure. Yeah, Courage is everything, even failure. I've only just seen this, honest. Next to the Emperor card and the Four of Cups, if you have put yourself into a situation where you have taken on more responsibility, where you've set up your own business, where you've reached out before and it's not actually worked for you, this is saying don't let that failure be part of you. It's a case of get back on there. Even if you fail again, it's part of your personality to realise that failing doesn't mean anything. It's the ability to pick yourself up that means everything. And that's why you've got the Star card at the end, I'm wondering. And it's like begin it now. There's something you need to be doing in this pile that is quite gutsy, quite raw, quite gritty, and you've probably tripped over before and you think, I'm not going to do that again. That was quite hard. You know, I was probably expressing quite a vulnerable part of myself here with the Scorpio in the 12th house, trying to reach out to people, didn't work, so sod it. But it's a case of, no, it's not that. It's a case of get up, do it again. Even if you fall flat on your face, the whole reason for doing it is to realise that falling flat on your face is not the end of you. It's part of life, and it's what basically makes us stronger each time, is the ability to not bother with it. And it's difficult and it hurts. And it's like, yeah, so what? Keep doing it. This sounds really harsh, plan number 3. I don't mean to be mean, but this is what these cards, courage in everything, even failure, and begin. And this Emperor card here with the Four of Cups is like, don't offer, you're saying, don't offer that situation to me again because I won't take it. And these cards are saying, do it anyway, even if it feels, the Scorpio in the 12th house, painful. And it's almost with the 12th house there that may be part of your lesson. You might have Mars in the 12th house. You may have a full 12th house. And it's saying don't hide from it. It's learn from it, because you've got that ability to suck in information that other people can't have. You've got that ability to really express your creativity, and possibly as well in a group situation. There's something to do with being very adept at inner depths, yours and other people's, and life in general, and making people feel as if they belong, that you may have failed at before and thought, I'm not doing that again, that was just too painful. But your end cards are the 8 of brushes, which is the 8 of wands, and the 5 of stencils. I have to translate these. The 5 of pentacles, which is that feeling of feeling shut out, is part of what you need to create, part of what you need to express, because that probably makes other people belong in your art or your everyday job. It's that toughness and communicating it. And it is like saying to everybody in your art or whatever you express, whether it's acting, drawing, painting, you know, working with troubled teenagers, or just being head of a business, it's that ability to be tough and to get up each day, even if you don't feel like you fit in. That's got nothing to do with who you are. None of us fit in. We're all extremely different, but during times in our life we fit in with different groups, and that helps us pull ourselves up, I think. And it's like a very this is quite a harsh approach to yourself, because you've got the Mother of translation again, Mother of Swords here, Mama Sword, Mummy of spray cans. And that's quite a tough card. That is a card of being quite terse with yourself, being very direct with yourself, no emotions, just do it again, do it again, do it again, that type of feeling. This is not a pile to say I didn't succeed and sit on it. This is a pile to be tough on yourself, even if you feel like you don't belong in certain situations, you don't belong with certain people. Life's been tough, you spend a lot of time on your own, even when you've tried to fit in with groups. That is part of your art, part of your creativity, is to understand that and have courage to stand up again and do it again. This is a tough pile. It does make me think of like tough creativity, tough art. And as I was saying, that Michael Fassbender feel about you, and he's got so much on his angles. I think it's his like Pluto on his MC. I don't know, I can't remember, to be honest. Neptune, Pluto, yeah. Neptune on his ascendant. So that softness in his expression, which is very 12th house, that Neptune feeling, and that Scorpio feeling of it being on his MC. And he basically expresses harshness, and that's what makes him beautiful. You know, all his films are quite hard, but there's something beautiful in the way that expresses it. I can't say that very well. I mean, watch Shame, watch Fish Tank. Watch the, what's the Dirty Protest one? With the Irish bombers. What's his name? I can't remember the name of the person, but that's the feeling I'm getting. You know, watch one of those films, that's the feeling I'm getting from it. And there's something to do with that rawness, that grittiness, that ability to drive. It's very much like a take me as I am, but begin. Just start doing it. Don't think too much about it. Don't think that you're not going to be accepted. Don't think that it's too raw. There's courage in everything. Okay, pile number 3. I'm going to leave that there, because if I add more onto that, it'd be more me trying to guess you. When to be honest, I think that to me sums it up. You know, watch one of those films, how raw they are, but there's something quite healing about them. There's something that you can give out that heals other people who may have been through similar situations to yourself. And I don't know what your creativity is. I mean, it's that fire inside all of us that needs to be pushed out, because unless we express ourselves, how are we going to connect with other people so that they can think, yeah, that's okay because I'm similar? And in showing our harder edges, I know, our dirty little secrets, our bits that we don't like about ourselves, people sometimes think, well, that's okay, you know, I have that too. You know, you can connect to the Three of Pentacles. It's like communicate those bits that make everybody else feel like they're an outsider. You may have experienced those bits, and that's how you're going to connect with people, and that's what's going to make you feel more accepted yourself, more expressive, and help others. 12th house, Scorpio there. Okay, right, I'm going to finish there. My battery's about to go. Thank you very much for joining me. I hope that helps in some way. A bit of a different read today. Thank you for joining me. Bye.